Book your table for the Melbourne Cup at West Ashfield's Garden Restaurant to watch the race that stops the nation on Tuesday, 1 November from 11:30am. You can have a fun day with your friends and family with exciting prizes, live entertainment, sweeps and TAB facilities available while you enjoy the Garden's Melbourne Cup specials. Limited bookings available. For more information, visit westashfield.com.au or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. Help is in close hand. Gamble Aware, 1-800-858-858, gambleaware.newsouthwales.gov.au. And welcome into another episode of the West Life podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. We are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues, best place to watch the games. Well, you can watch the semi-finals this weekend, live and loud, on Friday and Saturday night. And we are also sponsored by MG Pump Solutions and Mr. MG Pump Solutions. We've got him back. I promised I'd get him back by the end of the year. He's joining us. I'll get to Shane in just a second. But if at first, give us a follow on the socials, guys, at westslifepod on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to take part and support the show, patreon.com/Westlife. Send out the boys and girls received their stickers, their vinyl Westlife stickers in the mail this month. So this week, sorry. And so all sorts of things in the off season. A lot of NFL, a lot of EPL, and other sport chat in the Discord this week, which is cool. A bit of banter going on. So a cool little community that we've built over the last couple of years in there. And YouTube, thanks to everyone who's joining us on the live stream. And I guess you can be watching the possibly the biggest event in our lifetime in Lizzie's funeral going on at the moment. At the same time, we appreciate you coming and watching us talk a bit of footy instead, or whilst you're doing that. So, speaking of royalty, he's back, Mr. MG Pump Solutions. Shane Calder, finally we got you back. How have you been, big fella?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Really busy with work, so sort of just been focusing on that. I'll be 100% honest, guys. Haven't been watching any footy. I'm done for the year. I need to have a break from it. Just been watching Premier League. Been getting up early and doing the hard yards for Man United. Look, we won 4 in a row. We lost a shitty one, but hey, I'm happy. Yeah,
I'm watching NFL. I'm definitely more excited about NFL than I am at NRL at the moment. My Broncos got a win today. Speaking, the quarterback of this show, Rob Bashara, how are you on this Monday evening?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, guys. Hope you're all well. Howdy to all the listeners. Josh, just want to give a quick shout out to Tyrone Cosgrove, who's doing it pretty tough in Mount Druitt Hospital. He's been a mad Tigers fan, Balmain fan, and West Tigers fan. Favourite player, Robbie Farah. Mate, just want to know we're thinking of you, or let you know we're thinking of you, and do his son Ryan as well, mate. So tough times, but we're all in it together.
Is that any relation to another Cosgrove that we both?
Not that I'm aware. I know
Okay.
the person you're thinking of, but I'm not sure of the connection.
Okay, because He's from that area and big Tigers fan as well. So
Yeah,
a lot of
could
Tigers
be.
fans out west. My
Could
family
possibly.
included. My family are from Rudy Hill, all big Tigers fans as well. So not all Panthers fans out there. And congratulations to the newly or second time uncle this week. Congratulations, but Uncle Az, how are you on this Monday
Yeah,
evening?
thanks, man.
How's the little fella doing?
Yeah, from what I've seen, little fella's doing all right. Thank you very much, by the way. Hello to all the listeners. G'day, Shane. G'day, Rob, as well. Little man's doing all right. My sister, she's done a wonderful job of bringing him into the world, and we're all very excited to meet him or to see more of him. I got to hold him yesterday. It was a bit of a surreal moment, actually, because I've become an uncle twice previously, but both when I was considerably younger. So didn't really get to experience that like I did yesterday. And it was a bloody big weekend for me, to be fair. The SCG was heaving pretty heavily on Saturday evening, and
Oh yes, you're at that game, yeah.
I was, yeah. My voice has started to come back. I could barely say much of anything yesterday with how I belted out the song at full time on Saturday night. But yeah, that's a story for another day. Big weekend and ready to get into semi-final week for the NRL and grand final week for the AFL.
Yeah, Geelong Cats v Sydney Swans on Saturday afternoon. That's right, isn't it?
Yep.
Shows how much.
2:30.
I guess the Swans. I adopted the Richmond Tigers with Rob this year. Unfortunately, we bounced out just in time for us to bounce out first week of the finals. But good luck to the Swans on Saturday afternoon. Okay, we'll get back to some rugby league. I thought before we get to the mailbags, a few plenty of. I don't think there'll be many West Tigers fans who haven't heard of the guy named. I'm assuming it's a guy. It might not be. It might be a woman. That goes by the Pom on the forums and that sort of thing. He's usually pretty good with some inside word and that sort of thing, and he's dumped a whole lot of information. So I thought we'd just go through those. So firstly, he said Tommy Talau is getting a top 30 spot. So the rumor was he was going to train a trial, but apparently Tommy Talau is getting a full contract spot despite being injured this entire year. And he will be used in like a Luke Garner style of centre/second row deal. Shane, I'll let you kick off that one. Thoughts on Tommy Talau getting another run?
Oh, look, it's good. The poor bloke's been out for a full year, did his ACL end of last year, so didn't really get a chance to do anything. So it's good that they gave him another contract. I definitely think he's going to be a second rower. He's too big to play centre how he used to. Obviously, as you said, he'll be used in that sort of hybrid role that Luke Garner was occupying for quite a bit. And look, I really believe he could thrive. I'm thinking that's why we let Garner go, because Tommy Talau would be taking up that spot. So, look, I think he's more of a second rower than a centre. He's a big fella. Like, if you've met him, if you've seen him in person, you know he's a big fella. I'm keen to see him go because he does have definitely some raw talent, just needs to be honed.
Rob, he'd probably just about be the best centre we have. Maybe Naden, if they actually played him at centre, but he's probably the best centre we've got, in my opinion.
Yeah, perhaps. I think even in his good games, he's got a little bit of an issue with his hands. So I don't know, maybe he's more suited to second row. Look, we've put a lot of faith in him. We basically rejected Josh Adokar in favour of Tommy Talau. So we've really put a lot of faith in Tommy. So I guess if we've gone this far, we may as well go the whole hog and just hope that his raw talent, comes to fruition.
How do you think you'll go back row as?
I'm not really sure because I haven't really seen or heard much of him potentially playing in the back row, other than the rumours that we've heard on the show here. I think he could work pretty well, but my main concern is how does he fit into the back row, potentially with Blore being there as well? Would he spend more time in the centres, or is he more of a backup in the back row if Blore or Papali'i were to go down, sort of thing?
Yeah, I guess you could play Blore in the front row rotation, maybe. He's a big bopper as well. They're playing him off the bench a bit previously. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, the round 1 team's going to look very different to the round 25 team this year. So, which is definitely a good thing. Next one, he said that New Brown is not certainty of staying. He's got an offer on the table, but his management want a little bit more. Rob, I guess the club, we're not really desperate for hookers. Actually, we're trying to offload more of them. Obviously, since we had last recorded, Jakey Little's been let go to the Dragons, despite the rumour that we read on Twitter about him failing his physical. But yeah, Rob, are they maybe just not trying to be a bit extra cautious with New Brown's contract? Maybe they're kind of thinking he might not get any bigger offers than what we're offering him. I don't know what the offer is, but I can't imagine it's a lot.
I just think it's his management just trying to get the best offer for him. New Brown said he wants to stay with the Tigers. One good thing that our club seems to have done probably in the last 12 to 18 months is we've refused to pay overs for players, which is a good thing because that was a big problem of the past. Like names that we've heard of, like Britton Nakora, Jack Bird, players like that were associated that wanted 600,000 and 700,000, etc., etc. I think I'm glad we haven't gone down that path of overpaying players, and I guess no matter the standard of player, we're probably trying to do the same thing with New Brown. But I certainly think New Brown's done enough to earn a contract. But as we've discussed previously, we've got Rua as backup. We've got Jake Simpkin, who's still contracted to us. We've obviously released Little, which is, it frees us of one hooker. So, yeah, I guess we're not desperate for hookers. But, look, New Brown certainly added a lot to our squad this year.
Shane, we didn't really get much opinion about New Brown since he came from you this year. What were your thoughts on what you saw of New Brown?
Oh, he was electrifying. Every time he came in, he either assisted a try or got tries himself. So, look, I really enjoyed how he played. From just even bits and pieces that I saw when I was scrolling through Instagram and whatnot on Fox Sports, like it just seemed every time the Tigers were playing, I'd be scrolling through my phone and he'd be scoring a try. So,
yeah, I did love a meat pie. He was a good smoky for the same game multis actually.
Yeah, I rate him. I rate him personally. I thought he was good. Attitude's excellent. I follow him on Instagram, and man, like he puts in more effort than 99% of the players that we've got. And no, he's a person that you want around the club.
As Benjamin Barrett on the YouTube comments, he reckons obviously Appy be top hooker. He reckons Jakey Simpkin will be next behind him. Where would you put New in the pecking order?
I'd probably
right
put
now
him above Jake, to be honest, personally. Sorry. As I cut you off, go for it, bro. I'd put him in front of Jake, to be honest. I think he's shown more promise.
Yeah, I can pretty much agree with that. I'd either have him just ahead of Jake or tied with Jake for the 14 role. My main issue with New at the moment was he tried for the dummy half scoot on top of the try line a few too many times, and the more he tried it, the more predictable it was. So if he kind of does that a bit more sparingly next year, he'd ask a lot more questions of the defense than them expecting him to potentially just try to dive over from on top of the line. But do we have any info on how much the offer is, or is that all, would that all be speculation at the moment?
It'd be all speculation. I wouldn't have a clue. It wouldn't be. Yeah, it would be only a couple $100K. It wouldn't be much more than a minimum deal. I wouldn't think there'd be a huge market, but I could be wrong. Yeah, sounding like they want more money. I'd say it would be much more than the minimum. And the club's obviously like, if you don't take the minimum or close to it, then that is not going to be a huge loss. But the good thing about him too, coming off the bench, he can fill in more positions than Jake, than just straight up hooker, because he's played in the halves and
hooker, half, lock.
I think he'll be 14 come round one, assuming that he's re-signed. Another signing, this has been a thing for weeks. The Charlie Staines, Tyrone Peachy swap. Apparently, that's going to be announced as soon as Panthers' season's finished. So probably when they win the grand final. Shane, what are your thoughts on Charlie Staines coming to the club?
I don't rate him, but he's better than Peachy. So we don't have any competition for the fullback role. I believe Dane really needs to be pushed to get the most out of him. I think he's been really lazy this year from, like, obviously the stuff I saw at the beginning of the season. He just seemed very lazy, very slow, and he just didn't have that push about him. So, look, getting another fullback in that's going to put a bit of pressure on him to perform is probably the best thing. And we get rid of Peachy, so that's good.
I'll go to Az next. Thoughts on where Charlie Staines would be in the pecking order? I guess there is talk of. I'll add another thing that the Poms talked about in here. He reckons Dane Laurie will be training at 5'8" a little bit. It's kind of, they might experiment with that. What are your thoughts on that, Az?
Yeah, I don't see Dano working as a 5'8". I think he has that fullback spark in a bit more of a quantity than he would have the ball playing side of things. He can come in and make those plays that the fullback does, and with nowhere near as much pressure in attack as what the halves do. I don't know. Maybe it's there to say he's there to cover for Adam Dwayne if he goes down injured again. But I agree with Shane. He definitely having Staines in the club would definitely push Dano to play a bit harder, work a bit harder, because all we had at fullback for the rest of this year was Stafford Toa, and like we said in the end of season survey or the player reviews, he did an all right job at fullback, but he was never going to be a long-term option there, and he was never going to push Dano hard when he came back to keep his spot. So
someone got someone in the background near them banging around. It's not you dropping another plate of food again, Shane, like you did that.
No, I dropped an Allen key and I was trying to figure out where it went, and I kept kicking it around. That's why I was like, watch me drop down a bit.
Building some IKEA furniture. You were known to make it back before we went on the video. You were known to make your dinner as we were recording a couple of years ago.
No, washing the dishes.
Washing the dishes. That's right. You dropped the dishes while on air. Rob, anything to add on Staines and Peachy?
No, look, I agree with the boys on Staines. I'm not a fan of his. Defensively, I don't think he's up to it. I don't even think he's a fullback, to be fair. If we get him, he's a winger. One thing that he will fit in with is, I know the club is all about trying to add some more speed to the back line. He can finish a try, so he is very fast. I think Toa's an adequate backup fullback, guys. And I know Peachy didn't have a good year, but as I've said previously, if we had a coach that believed in Peachy, he could sort of certainly play the West Tigers footy that we're used to, that ad-lib, pop a pass. Peachy can fill in a few positions as well. He just needs to be sort of, you watch him thrive in the Penrith lineup, put it that way. If this all happens, watch him go well with Penrith. And Peachy has got talent. So I just think Peachy is a good player if he's used properly, but I just don't think, he was on the way out with Maguire after his it was Peachy's fault. But after that Newcastle game in round 2, I think Peachy sort of did himself no favours there. But I don't think Staines is a great acquisition, guys. But there's not too much out there, to be fair.
A little one. Zane Musgrove has been told he can look elsewhere, but doesn't have to go. Shane, I know when he first came to the club, we were pretty high on Zane Musgrove, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit this year, to say the least.
Yeah, it's sort of done nothing really. Not what we expected. His size, his power, we really expected to see someone come out and really destroy stuff, be that bit of an enforcer that we needed, and just didn't get anything from it. Seems a lot of the big boys sort of just struggle when they come to the Tigers. I don't know what it is, but we haven't had great forwards in a long time. This year was probably at the beginning, and I'd say end of last year, they started to look like they got on their stride, especially coming into the bye rounds this year. We were all pretty pumped with how the forward pack was looking. But again, it's that drop-off. So I'm not too sure what it is, but yeah, we expected a lot more from him, and I guess just didn't deliver.
Rob, anything on what Shane said there? Do you think the forwards kind of dropped as an entirety, kind of dropped off as the year went on?
Well, other than Joffa, I think Shane's pretty much on the mark. Look, he had his moments, Zane. Like he had some good games. He had some good games against Para, South. He had a blinder against St George that we lost at Wollongong. Even the last game that we lost to at Newcastle, Campbelltown, 5 or 6 weeks ago, I thought he was our best forward. So he has his moments, but as we got to a stage where we were expecting an error from him every time he came on, which was quite regular. Look, he's just too hot and cold. But I mean, I don't think you'll find another club, to be fair, because if teams are going to pick, try and pluck the wooden spoon team apart, then they're sort of in trouble, aren't they? Really, like picking leftover. If we don't want him, like who else would want him?
Yeah,
so, I think he's
probably only Dolphins.
Yeah, but they're okay in the forward, Shane. They seem to be sort of struggling around the halves and stuff, but their forward pack's going to look really good next year. But yeah, like he'd definitely be good backup. Like the guy can play, he's just a bit hit and miss.
As anything add on Zane Musgrove?
Yeah, no, not really. I don't really see him as part of our forward rotation moving forward. But he's still got 2 years on his contract. I don't know how much it is, but I don't know how much, and I don't know how much of it we'd have to pay out. But yeah, I don't really see him as part of the forward rotation moving forward when we've got the young blokes like Vanua Pole and Stefano, when you've got the likes of Twally and Joffa there as well. I think they'd be our 4 main props. So it doesn't really look like there'd be a place for him other than as a backup for if one of those boys was to go down injured. So,
which is important, I guess. I think. I think. We showed that this year as soon as we got a couple of injuries. A bit of depth. Yeah, I'm happy for him to be around, but yeah, it's one of those ones. If he left, then I guess you're not going to lose sleep over it.
We'd need someone else, maybe whether it be a Woodsy or a Fafita or whoever else they might try and send our way. You'd need someone if Musgrove was to go, but you wouldn't want to go for someone like well and truly past their prime.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go for either of those. Please don't say their names again.
Don't say their names.
Benjamin said on YouTube comments, Musgrove will go to Melbourne and be a superstar. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. Everyone does, except for Noffa. Except for Nofaluma. He still looked pretty crappy down there. I'd get snippets. My business partner, Matty, his missus is a Melbourne supporter. And shoot, like they were clipping up bits and sending me bits of Noffa and go, you can still put him in a good club. He ain't that fucking good, is he? And I was like, that's worrying me. That's really bad if I'm getting these from them. They expected him to do good, and yeah, supposedly he wasn't that good. So lovely.
A guy who we expected to be good this year, but didn't even play a single game, first grade, Tuki Simpkins. So apparently Tim Sheens is keen to work with him, and there was rumours of the club trying to let him go, the young kid. But yeah, Shane's is keen to work with him. Shane, we saw a lot of him last year, like through the trials and stuff, and you're a bit of a fan of the big bopper. I think with a bit of discipline, obviously the car accident incident in the preseason didn't.
That was the killer.
Yeah, I think a bit of discipline and maturity. I think he can be a decent player. His defense apparently wasn't great in second grade, but I don't know. I think there's something with Tukey still.
Yeah, look, as we said with a couple of the guys, like very raw. He is very young, rugby union background. There's extra people on the field in union. You don't have to defend as hard. You sort of got more people to back you up, and a lot bigger people. I can tell you that now. So watching the union the other night, holy shit, they're all monsters. Even the wingers are massive. And
how good was Karabidi?
Oh, dude, he's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he's absolutely ridiculous.
Bring him back
as a winger. Like he's like 130 kilo winger, and he's outrunning the small dudes. I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Another one we let go.
100%. No, I think about that every time I watch him. I'm just like, imagine him on the wing, just absolutely charging 130 kilo. But Tukey, the that off-field incident, that's what stitched him up this year, 100%. He didn't even get a look in. When you're hanging out with the Jersey Flag boys, like, look, the problem is he's 19 years old, maybe 20 years old. He is pretty young, so he's just hanging around boys the same age as him. But that lapse of judgment definitely cost him this year. I reckon we would have seen him play a bit of first grade towards the end of the year. Yeah, but definitely stitched himself up. I think, obviously, after that, Sheens and whoever else around the club must have seen some improvement in him, attitude-wise, because, yeah, like, after that sort of stuff, you just go, look, I'm not even going to bother. But they've obviously seen a bit of a turnaround in his attitude, and hopefully we can get a bit of work out of him, because what we saw attacking wise, especially like in those reserve grade games, he seems to do quite a lot, and he is a big unit. So,
yeah, Rob, do you think he'll suit Sheensy style footy?
Well, he's got a really good offload. I don't think his defence is up to it. I mean, he is young, as Shane said, so we've maybe got to give him a little bit of a break. But there was one game against, I think it was Cronulla in 2021. I think he missed like half a dozen tackles, and some of them quite simple. My thing is, if Sheens wants to work with him, he had the last 8 weeks or 10 weeks of the year to do that if he wanted to, and find out what we've got and what we could do with him. Now we've just got to go through that whole process next year, which is just absolutely stupid in my eyes. He could have done all that this year instead of washing his hands of everything. So we'll see how it goes. He can definitely ball play. So, like, attack-wise, I think he's got it in him to be a first grader. I just don't think defensively he's up to it. So they're going to have to work on that pretty hard.
As anything to add with Shiki?
Yeah, I think he'll have a chance really to try and earn his craft in reserve grade next year, because I'm pretty sure he turns 21 at the sometime in December, which would make him ineligible for Jersey Flag next year. So maybe being around that main squad or that reserve grade squad, other than the younger blokes around the club, might do him a bit of good. So if he gets a chance to get himself going potentially in reserve grade, then we might see him back in first grade later next year, maybe even 2024 if he's still around then.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 years left on his deal from memory. Another one.
Nope, he's off contract after next year.
Okay, one more year. The Luke Brooks saga seems like no one knows what's going on, but the POM has said Luke Brooks appears the only likely player re-signing before November 1. And then there's talks of Newcastle and someone in the comments I saw before said he had management had a meeting with Newcastle today. Does anyone have any info regarding Brooksy? I'll throw it to all three of you at the same time because
Nil on my end.
I got nothing.
like
I got
It's just a
nothing as well.
guessing game. I'm just going to take Sheens at his word and that he's going to be our first grade halfback next year. I can't, unless Luke Brooks goes to management and says, I want out, I don't want to play with the West Tigers, I believe he'll be our halfback next year. That's as simple as that. I just can't see him leaving. He's on great coin. Club's not going to want to pay much for him to play elsewhere. They've been talking this same tune for 12 months. And we've heard this Newcastle stuff for 12 months as well. So I'm just going to assume he's going to be our halfback next year, whether we like it or not.
Shane, what's your thoughts on the whole Brooksy saga?
I want to see the back of him. I just think enough's enough. We've tried it too many times. We're just flogging a dead horse. That's all it comes down to. We're just flogging a dead horse now. He doesn't have the brain to be able to pull off what he wants to pull off or what he sees in training. The pressure gets to him and his brain just turns to mush, and his fifth tackle options are possibly the worst out of every halfback in the league. So I want him gone. If the Knights can pick him up, please. I reckon we pay half his salary to get him. Just get him away. It's 1 year. Just get him gone.
Part of me wonders if the re-signing thing is to stretch out what they'll pay him at another club, but wouldn't you just take the hit next year and just clear it? I don't know. Who knows what Sheensy has in mind for him? But last one, Albert Kelly, name I haven't seen for a while, looking at possibly a train and trial deal for this off season. As I'll let you go first, how old is Albert Kelly? He's got to be in his 30s by now. He's been around
I
for
reckon
a while.
he's more like 28. I feel like he started really young, maybe with Cronulla. I thought he was around at like 18 or something.
Yeah, he killed it with the Broncos, though.
He had a couple of good games with the Broncos.
Yeah, and then just got shipped off for everybody else. Everybody else came in and he just got pushed aside.
Who thoughts, boys? Is he he's obviously worth a shot at a training trial?
I guess so. I think he did quite well in English Super League, which is why the Broncos took him back. But I'd love to know what happened at the Broncos, because he did have a couple of good games up there. So maybe they saw some problems in him that, weren't made public. I really don't know. But again, we're trying to make something out of someone that's technically washed up. So
32 in March.
Yeah, we keep getting all these guys, off on their last legs and trying to make something of them. We need to get established stars. We don't need more experiments, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, train and trial is probably the most you'd want to do with him. Maybe he'd earn some sort of budget basement contract in our top 30 if we have room in our top 30 come the start of the season. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell you too much about him.
Well, Jimmy Roberts did that. So, I don't know. Paul on Facebook said the idea is youth. This isn't the way to go. So, yeah, if he stays, I mean,
Fair point.
It might be nice. The Magpies, if he's playing for the Magpies, it's not a bad thing. So, strengthen,
bit of experience around the club potentially, but that'd be about it.
That's it for old mate the Poms rumors. I'm assuming, hey Gussie, that Gussie's in the chat. Welcome in, Gussie.
G'day, Gussie.
Righto, on to our questions. Thank you to the I think we've got 10 sent in. So thank you for filling in the form for us. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to copy and paste over. Let me find the first one. Where is it? Stalling. Okay. Josh Green says, realistically, out of the 2023 off contract list, who should we target come November 1 to strengthen the club? He'd like to see Liam Martin or Jesse Ramian. As I'll let you go first. I know you're keep your eye on closely on
I'm
those
just-
sort of things?
I'm just pulling up the off-contract list now, so if someone else wants to have a bit of a chat while I find it.
Shane, what are your thoughts on Liam Martin and Jesse Ramian?
Liam Martin, yeah. Jesse Ramian, not really. I don't really like how he plays football. Like, he's just a bit of a grub, and just watching him shits me. Liam, he's just one of those people that just every time you watch him play football, you're annoyed with him. Whether he's on your team, not on your team, you'd just be like, you're a dickhead. And he just does really silly stuff. Liam Martin's an absolute warrior. If we could get him, that'd be amazing. But I doubt we're going to be front of the line there. There's going to be a queue up, and we'll be way off the back of the line there.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's off contract at the end of next year. Of those two names, I totally agree with Shane. I'm not a Ramian fan defensively. The guy can attack. He's certainly, got a good fend and can score a try. Liam Martin, I'd love to have him, but the fact that Penrith are losing Kickow this year, I doubt they're going to lose Liam Martin next year, and that's basically their starting back row as it is. So, wishful thinking. Love to have Liam Martin, but I don't see it happening. We do need centres. I would, like I said, there's better centres out there for me than Ramian. Like I said, I don't know how long he's on contract for, but Campbell Graham would be someone I'd love to have. Can do it on the attacking side and defensive side. So, Joey Manu, those sort of guys. But yeah, I mean, there aren't too many centres around. But I think we're not in a position to be too picky, to be fair. If there's anyone half decent out there, we need to get them because they're better than what we've got at the moment.
As in that list, anything, there's not much. It's slim pickings at this point of the year for 2023. But I think a signing for us is going to be an off cut. It's not going to be someone off contract. I think it's going to be someone that a club's trying to free up cap space and willing to get rid of. But what are you thinking, as? What names standing out for you?
Well, players that are off contract at the end of this season, there's very, very little out there that we'd probably even look at considering. But if we were to go ahead to the players off contract after next year, then there's quite a few. I've picked out a few names that we might have to break the bank for them. But if we wanted a centre, we've got, what's his name? Stephen Crichton from Penrith off contract next year. I wouldn't mind seeing him come to the club if we could get him.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of people after him as well. It's going to be a fire sale at the Panthers. All these guys are going to get massive contracts.
Oh, absolutely. And then I saw there's a name in I can't see what position they've put him in, but Victor Radley is off contract after next year. He's a bit of a firebrand, but I don't know. Would you maybe take Radley? Oh, yeah, Benjamin Barrett's just said it too.
Yeah, he great minds think alike. Yeah, he's a great player. But would the Roosters let him go, Rob?
Look, I'm probably being really harsh. I just said we should take anyone that's half decent. He can definitely play, but he's an absolute dickhead. Like, he's a dickhead. He's a dickhead of a player. I
was going to say the same thing, Rob. I was going to say exact same thing.
Honestly, Shane, he's cost his team basically a chance of a premiership this year. He's a fucking idiot. They were better off without him starting against South. They killed South the week before in their opening game at Allianz, and then he came on and he was just an idiot twice. And I think we've got to look at what the players are like. Plus, he's had a couple of head knocks as well. So, look, I'm not saying the guy can't play. I know he's probably going to be in Origin next year if healthy and all that sort of stuff, but I'm just not a fan of the bloke.
No, he would have been excellent in rugby league in the 1990s, but he does not suit today's game, and it shows by him getting sent off all the time. He gets too wild, he gets too stupid, and he just does dumb stuff every single game. And literally, he cost the Roosters their spot in this finals run. It was all him.
Definitely, I agree with you, mate.
A couple of suggestions in the comments. So Benjamin has also suggested Jackson Tarpany from the Bulldogs. Anyone got any thoughts on him?
He seems to be a bit of a fan favourite among Bulldogs fans, so he might be a good pickup if there'd be a spot for him.
Brockers suggesting Hudson Young.
Yeah, he can play.
Yeah, I like Hudson Young. Yep.
Finds the try line too.
Craig's said Will Penasini or another Joseph Tarpany.
Yeah, yes to both from me.
How about
I like Tarpany. I do like Tarpany. I was hoping he would come earlier in the year when all that stuff happened with his wife and Ricky, them blowing up at each other. I was really hoping that we would have got him because that was all the rumours that were in for him. So I wish we could have just pushed a bit harder.
How about trying to steal Jeremiah Nanai from the Cowboys and having a front row, a second row of Nanai and Papali'i?
He's
We've already tried. Yeah,
in my wildest dreams, dreams, I'd love to have Nanai.
We tried to get him
on the contract list.
No, he definitely re-signed because I laughed at it because we were trying to swap him for Luch and they just laughed and went no chance. And then shortly after that, they said he re-signed.
Oh, there you go.
Randomizer has got a random one. PNG forward Nixon Putt from the Capras dominated Kikau and Tui in the Fiji test.
Never seen him play.
Yeah, problem is test football's soft. It's not
and
it's not even up to NRL's scratch. So it's very hard to.
That's like everyone talked about Nofaluma's game playing for Samoa. He was playing against the Cook Islands. He was playing against below New South Wales Cup standard. So you can't really read too much into those games. It's definitely big. Joey, one of our Patreon members in the YouTube, he said Nanai did sign for another year. And he only signed for one more year. So, yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why, because he might have been off contract after this year, but is now off contract after next year then.
Yeah. So they give him that extra year. Or they're trying to get money for him.
Kim mentioned Nathan Brown. Yeah, pretty sure he's on the Dogs, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't want him either.
Yeah, he signed with the Dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? It's slim pickings. There's another.
I reckon this is probably the worst year for off-contract players.
Definitely.
There's just been snapped
almost
up
nobody
already. There's been snapped up already as well.
Drew Hutchinson is off contract after next year, coming off his 4 tries against us a few weeks back.
No thanks.
Yeah, we're giving plenty of answers there for Josh. This is from Hodjo. My question is, we've been awful for a while, yet we continually re-sign the same players. While I know we can't I think it means we can't get everyone. When do we genuinely cull the squad? I guess he means when do we just start?
Yeah, he's probably saying, I think he's meaning with while we can't let everyone go, when do we genuinely... Yeah. So, we can't let everyone go, which is true, but we do need a cull.
Yeah, I think they're trying already, but you just can't. It's just... You can't just... Yeah, you can't... You just physically can't do it.
Problem is, I was having a chat. We got one delivery bloke who comes past, and he's a Mad Tigers fan as well. And we're just having a chat, and we literally said, who can you buy? Who can you buy? And you look at the off contract list. There's almost nobody. You're gonna have to go overseas again, and you're gonna have to go get Super League. For some reason, a lot of them struggle coming into NRL. So it might work, it might not, but you can't get rid of the players. There's just too many teams in the comp now that'll snap them up and just have them sit on the bench or play them in reserve grade. We've got 17 teams now, and that's probably about 3 or 4 too many because there just isn't enough talent to spread through these teams properly, and as it is.
Anything to add to that, Rob or Az?
No, he's on the money. Like it's really hard to, get strong squads, and then even when you have a strong squad, you get people criticising. Like I heard Paul Kent tonight say that Parramatta don't have a squad capable of winning the premiership. I just laughed at it. I'm like, that's a squad that can win it, but if that's not a squad, then what hope have we got? So it's just going to take a lot of time, guys. We've got to find a few good players from within. And look, and how many players have we lost this year? Like we've let go of 7 out from our squad. So like you can't really lose too much more than that, to be fair. So
it's almost
a
a third of the squad gone.
That's what I mean. Well, yeah, it's a quarter of the top 30 at least, isn't it? So
and we've used 35 players this year or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's not easy. We're just going to have to put up with a couple of lean years, I think, and unless we make some super duper signing that we can build a club around, that's all. But like I say, if we can at least get Appy and Isaiah like that, that's certainly a good start.
Yeah, and there's plenty of cash there to build around them.
We've also only got the one player left off contract this year that there hasn't been talk or anything about. Tommy's still on the off contract list on 0 tackle, but other than that, the only one that there is William Key, and then there's only 9 players off contract next year. So there's the rebuilding side of it is going to take a while, regardless of whatever way we spin it, because there's obviously a few on that off contract list for next year that we want to keep. There's a few that we'd want to get rid of, but unless we ship off some of the others who aren't either William or in that 9 next year, then we're going to be paying money to potentially have players playing at other clubs, which is never going to work out all that well.
I'm pretty sure Key's been let go. So I think that one's finished.
Okay.
Yeah, they put a post up about it. I'm pretty sure it's on the Tigers post. Like the Tigers actually posted about it, that William Key's one of the 7 that's going this year. And that's another person who I followed on Instagram. I expected big things to come from, and we just saw absolutely nothing.
I must have missed that one.
On to Kai's question. He said, would Jacko move back to 7 if Brooks went to the Knights? If not, who would play 7? Yeah, I mean, there's the
fingers
whole
crossed he does.
Yeah, I think we all want him
even
to.
If Brooks is here.
I think every single West Tigers fan wants him to, but they seem to think he's too slow, Rob. Like, that seems to be the thing that just keeps coming up. But as you've said in previous weeks, Rob, that the man is quick on the brain as much as anything.
It's mind-boggling. He's the best game manager we've got. I mean, I know how much Shane loves him. He said he's the best buy we've had in 10 years. So, look, if the thing with Brooks happens, it's got to happen now so we know for sure what's happening next year. But the thing is, Sheen's has said on record that Hastings is a lock in his eyes. So if he sees that, then he's playing Brooks at 7 next year. I'm not going to get my hopes up, guys. I want to see it. I just don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I think Jacko's stuck at lock.
Shane, it's crazy. Our best games, our wins this year was with Hastings at 7. It's crazy.
I don't get it. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I've said it to you boys a lot. I'm really not keen on Sheens. Like, really not keen on him. I don't think he's any good for us. I think these ideas are proving that he's not good for us, because literally our best 7, he doesn't see him as a 7. And I'm just like, are you the only person that watches rugby league that isn't thinking, holy shit, he's way better than Brooks, we should probably leave him there? He's literally the only person thinking that, no, he's too slow. Mate, we won games with him in the 7. We dominated some games. We won tight games with him as 7 because of his
Despite
ideas.
Our forwards getting absolutely melted.
Bro, that Souths game, that last 25 minutes, man, the Souths forwards were the scariest people on the earth. I swear to God. and we still won.
Mm.
And it's just like I'll be honest, I just hate Sheens at our club. I just don't think he's any good for us at all. Benji, look, I'm a bit excited for that because it's Benji. Experience-wise has me worried, but I don't like Sheens at all. I said it when he first came to the club. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to be any good for us. And especially how he handled the back end of this year, it really sort of pissed me off. That's half the reason why I stopped watching, because to throw Brett Kamali under the bus like he did, put him in there, announce that he's going to be taking over. But it's like, man, just jump in right now and just do it. You're there fluffing around. You've made Brett Kamali look like a dickhead. The bloke's coaching career is possibly ruined because he wasn't really making any changes or anything. He wasn't making the team list. It was Sheens just farting around and going, oh, you're the face of it. Just over it. Like, it's just, that's the sort of stuff that's really pissed me off about the club. It's just, you shoot yourself in the foot continuously. And I don't know. Some people are going to hate me for it, but I just don't think Sheens is good for the club. He wasn't good for the club when he left. I don't think he's good for the club now.
Shane, do you buy into the rumor that Benji's going to be more taking charge next year, even while Sheens is supposedly the head coach? Do you think it's more of a smoke screen, or do you think Benji will be taking a bit of a backseat over the next 2 years?
He has to learn, but also, like, is Sheens the right person for him to be learning off?
Mm.
That's the question we've got to get the answer to. And look, while he knows a lot of stuff, it's very outdated now. I don't know. I can just see Rob up there with a little smile on his face. We'd call it a smirk, but I really just I'm actually worried for these next 2 years. I really don't expect anything. I think if you look, throwing Benji in the deep end probably would have been worse than the idea we've come up with now, because if you're throwing him in the deep end, look, I guess it's sink or swim. If he swims, it's good. If he sinks, then everyone's going to hate him. And I think they didn't want to do that. But Sheens literally just did that with somebody. So I'm worried that that's probably going to happen again next year. Oh, no, Benji's been doing everything. I'm just sitting in the background, but I'm actually the head coach. But it's all Benji. That's what I'm sort of worried about with him. He just seems to talk absolute nonsense. So I don't know. We will see. He seems to come out and just like blatantly lie to the media, and then 2 weeks later, everything that he lied about is confirmed. And it's just like, dude, why are you doing this? Like, this is the whole shooting yourself in the foot thing. And Sheen seems to do it a lot. And, oh, yeah, it has to be pissed off now. I'm not going to be able to sleep properly.
You're welcome.
Rob, anything to add to that? Because Shane's pretty much, saying what you've been preaching for a while now as well.
It's good to know that Shane doesn't listen to us when he's not on the show.
I wiped my hands with the Tigers, brother. I wiped my hands with them. I needed to for a bit. I had to get out. I was getting so angry.
That's why I asked. I wanted to get his opinion compared to Rob's.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything I've been saying, mate. I'm not a fan of his. He should have jumped in. People have short memories. I'll never think. I actually saw a Facebook memory come up a week ago of mine saying, I can't believe Tim Sheen single-handedly destroyed our 2012. That was just a reminder of how I felt at the end of 2012. So, look, the problem is, Shane, whether we like him or not, we've just got to get behind him now and just hope they do the right thing. But I just, like you said, he's outdated. I called him like my old world book, full of knowledge, but it's outdated. And look, I mean, he's got a chance to prove us wrong, put it that way. But I personally, I would have rather have seen Benji and Robbie just go in there without his help, because they've been coached by him both for at least 10 years each. So, I think if they know what to do. I think Sheens is there just to shield the boys from the media. The only thing that bothers me about the Jacko to lock and the Brooksy to halfback thing is I think Robbie and Benji are strong enough personalities that if they didn't agree with Sheens, that they would sort of say something. So I'm kind of worried that they actually agree with Sheens that these are the best positions for those boys. So that concerns me a little bit. But look, you know what? It's just I'm a bit like you, man. I'm just gonna watch next year, not get too upset, and just see how it goes. Support the boys. I hope Sheens does well. I'd love nothing more than to have to apologise at the end of next year and say, Tim Sheens, you proved me wrong. You did a great job, and that is my goal. I'd rather be 100% wrong and our club does well, than the other way around, me being right and we come dead last. So look, I wish them all the best, and I hope they do well. But they have got a tough job, guys, and they are taking over from a team that came dead last. So it's pretty hard to expect too much.
Yeah.
Gussie's comment on YouTube: Benji head coach, Brett Hodgson assistant coach, Robbie GM, Rob Bashara CEO, Joshy Barnett head of social media, and Azza Thompson statistician. Where would we put Shane? Shane's maintenance man at.
Mate, I ain't doing shit there. Mate, I'm still working, bro. Don't worry about me. I don't want to be there. I'll there for a year, bro.
Shane, chief selector. He can pick the team every week. I trust Shane before Sheens, put it that way.
Head of social media would be a tough gig as well. The West Tigers right now.
Talentai was excellent, though.
Yeah, he's the king.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Righto, moving on to Rob17's question. Whilst an ambitious move, do you think the play for Cameron Munster has the potential to backfire and further destabilise the club? For me, I don't think so. I think he's one of the best players in the world, and I'd absolutely love to get him and throw, a shit ton of money at him, and I think he would attract other players. He'd make us better. Instantly, him, Appy, and Papa alone, and then fill in Jacko. I think he instantly makes us a top 8. We can afford him. We've got the money. Who can I go? Shane, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts? Because we've kind of talked a little bit about it previous weeks. What are your thoughts on Munster? It's a dream, but I think he's worth throwing the kitchen sink at. What do you reckon?
As a person, I absolutely hate him. Can't stand him. But as a player, it speaks. It speaks. The dude's an absolute weapon. The problem is, though, I really don't know if he comes into our club as it is right now and actually does anything. I really think some of these players are just not good enough that he can do stuff. He just moves people around. He's the master of the chessboard when it comes to Melbourne Storm. Problem is, I don't think these people will know what to do. Look, I guess we've seen it with Jacko. Imagine him and Jacko in the halves. That would be impressive. I believe that would be a great halves combo. But there's a big but here too. If we go all in for Cameron Munster, we've lost Dewey. And that's 100%. If it is announced that we have got Cameron Munster, we will lose Adam Dewey.
Yeah, because unless he wouldn't want to play with the centres.
No, he wants to play 5'8", and you're literally going out and headhunting possibly the best 5'8" in the game. What does your current 5'8" think about that? He's going to be pretty pissed, and he'll go to Bulldogs. I think if this happens, we'll see Dewey go. He'll walk out the door so fast to go to the Bulldogs. He's got heaps of mates over at the Bulldogs. He'll be there real quick.
Rob,
what do you reckon, Rob?
Oh, look, it's a tough one. I mean, you can't knock back the best player in the world. I said recently, Shane, that I'm big on loyalty. I'd like to see Adam thrive at number 6 myself. But if we did get Munster, which I think we're dreaming, I don't think Braithen Astor would ever let any of his players come to our club if he, based on his attitude on NRL 360. But if we got him at our club, he'd have to play 5'8". I wouldn't play him at fullback. I think Munster's wasted at fullback. He's got to get his hands on the ball. He's proven this year. I know he's taken it personally that he's got off the drink, and that's what's made him a better player this year. He's tried to stay more focused, and he's probably the premier player in the game. One thing we do need, guys, as a club, if we can, it's very hard to do because there's not too much out there. We need a big kill in the spine. We need, we're not going to get a Nathan Cleary. We're not going to get a James Tedesco or a Pappenhausen, but we need a massive, I know we've got Appy, but let's be realistic. Appy's probably only going to be around for a couple of years and then he'll be retiring. So he's not there for too long, but we need a Harry Grant, we need one of the big spine guys that we can build a club around and for other players to say, I want to go there. Just like back in the day, people wanted to come to the Tigers because Benji Marshall was there and play alongside Benji Marshall. So I do think we need a big kill. I think we're dreaming if we think we can get Cameron Munster. I really do. And even the way the club put out, let us know what the other offers are and we'll match it or try and better it. You don't do that. You just go in with an offer that blows every motherfucker out of the water. You don't say, it's like, bidding on a house or something. It just doesn't work like that. Just go out there and say, if you think the guy's worth 1.2, give him 1.5, give him 1.6, give him something that makes him think, wow, I can get 1.6 for 5 years. I've got an $8 million deal for 5 years. That signs me up for most of my playing future. Blow the other clubs out of the water. Don't say, come back and let us know what your offers are and we'll better it or match it. Be on the affirmative. Don't be reactive. We just don't know how to negotiate, guys. We're just a fucking shit club, seriously. Mate, that's been reported in the media, Shane.
I read it today.
I read it in two different sources, and I just dropped my head in embarrassment. And I just think,
I read it today and just laughed. I was just
I just fucking laughed myself. I said, are they fucking serious? Are they absolutely serious?
But as you said, just walk in there with an offer they can't refuse, and look,
blow them out of the water. If you've got that much money to spend, blow them away, guys.
100%. Go offer that $1.4 million. And if you think he is the bloke, offer him that. And everyone's saying Dylan Brown. I've heard the Storm believe Munster is definitely gone, and the Storm's going for Dylan Brown. So if the Storm go for Dylan Brown, even if Munster doesn't choose us, Dylan Brown ain't choosing us. He's going to the Storm and he's going to win. So, as you said, Rob, we're dreaming on Benji, a lot of this shit.
Apparently, Dylan Brown loves Benji. That's what I heard. But
Kiwi connection.
Yeah, but still, what, man? Because you love a coach means you're going to go there, risk your career, and you're not going to win a premiership with the Tigers. Whereas if you go to the Storm, there is a chance you're winning a premiership.
Is there though? I mean, they got Harry. If they lose Munster, they're not going to be quite the force.
They've still got Harry Grant and Hughes. That's still wild.
Yeah.
And they've got Pappy, who was just running holes through everybody when he wasn't injured. Don't just those three players, man.
Yeah.
I think they're in a bit of strife next year, losing the Bromwich brothers and other players they've lost. But they lost Cameron Smith, they lost Cooper Cronk, they lost Billy Slater, and we thought they're finished, and they still came back and they're still a force. But I do think they're taking a bigger hit this year. I think they are losing a lot more there.
But they'll still be better than West Tigers. I get what you're saying.
No, but eventually, guys, we've got to come good. I just think it's a few years away. We can win a premiership, but we need someone to want to who in their right mind is going to want to say, I want this challenge of getting this club from the bottom to the top. I don't unless you were a Tigers supporter as a kid. I don't think you want to come to our club and actually do that. But that's what we need. We want someone that wants to take up that challenge, whether it's a Munster, whether it's someone else. We want someone that has belief and wants to play under Benji and Robbie and Sheens and build this club up. But the NRL needs us to be successful, man. We've got such a big supporter base, and I think it's going to happen eventually because out of necessity more than anything else. Because if we don't, man, we're just going to fold. Seriously.
Do you think there's I guess, possibility that as much as the Benji to coach from 2025 was a publicity stunt to keep the fans on side, do you think it works a bit the other way as well, where it's potentially to try and convince some players that they might want to come and play for Benji in the future?
I think that's the best thing, Aaron. It's the best thing right now. But the problem is that attraction to play under Benji won't look good in, say, 2025 if we have 2 lean years in the next 2 years. We need to use that attraction now to bait players while there's that romance of, you know, having a chance of success. But if we come in the bottom 4 the next couple of years, then that attraction to play alongside Benji just becomes another coach. You know, because
the excitement wears off pretty damn quick.
Exactly. So we need to use that Benji personality, that attraction right now as best we can, and strike, you know, while we can and while we've got the dollars, and more importantly, while we desperately need players. So I just hope it's sooner rather than later, because the attraction won't be there later.
On to no use for a name is the name on this one. Heard there's a swap deal done with Penrith Stains for Peachy. Laurie possibly doing some training in the halves to accommodate Charlie at fullback. Have you heard anything about this? Combined with Munster interest, does it seem like Dewey isn't seen as a long-term half? Lots of noise about alternatives. We've talked about this a little bit already. Who wants to hit this one?
I think we've pretty much covered it, mate. But
Yeah,
I think just the bit out of that is what's going to happen with Dewey. And as Shane said, if we do get someone else like a Dylan Brown or a Munster, then I can see Dewey straight out the door. You know, I don't think we're going to play Dewey at fullback. He won't want to play at centre. I just think, you know, we've covered that subject already, but Dewey will be out the door. That's probably the only thing I'd add to that.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much have to agree with that as well.
we kind of, the POM kind of took that one from you. No use, who also has no use for a name. Righto, friend of the show, Joseph Alafachi asked, do you expect Papa Lihi to honour his deal? I do, because he has to. He physically, he's signed a contract.
He's signed a contract. Too bad.
And
unless you're going to give us money to, or someone's going to pay us to get you off, too bad.
And the league can't let that happen, because it just would open a precedent for a player to be able to sign a contract. Because at the same time, if we sacked the coach and brought in, and Tim Sheens all of a sudden said, you know what, I don't actually like this guy, and said, we don't want you anymore, your contract is void, he would kick up a stink. So, and said previously, the Madge thing was a rumor. Apparently, he actually wasn't that keen on Madge when he signed. So the whole Madge wanting to play for Madge is actually a crock of shit. Apparently, they had to convince him to come play for Madge. Has anyone else got anything to add on this Papa thing that just won't go? Just seeing him in the West Tigers gear.
At the end of that interview, though, didn't he say that he was pretty keen to play for Robbie and Benji and Sheens? So why is this still a thing? He literally said he's keen to play. Yeah. Like if he said, "Oh no, I'm not keen to play," then yeah, fair enough. There's a story in it, but he said he's going to honour the contract. I swear he said this probably 6-7 weeks ago, didn't he? Now,
yeah. They're deliberately asking
when that interview came out
in the middle of a final series as well. Like he's literally got a potential premiership to focus on right now, and that's when they're asking him, when he's already got his current club to focus on. They're just making a mountain out of a molehill unnecessarily.
Welcome to the media.
I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, if he doesn't want to come, just don't let him." No, he's coming. He's one of the best players in the world. We need every bit of talent at the club as we can. To just say, "Oh no, don't let him come," you're letting him win. Like he's coming.
He's not saying anything, Josh. It's not him. That's the whole thing. It isn't him saying he doesn't want to come. He said he's keen to get coached by him.
Yeah.
It's literally just Fox News reporters not doing their job properly because they've got nothing else to speak about. So they make shit up. That's reporters. That's what they seem to do with anything to do with Tigers.
We couldn't get him to admit it, but him as in who did we have on the show for the journalist?
Chamis.
Michael Chamis.
Michael Chamis. He wouldn't admit it, but they know that West Tigers stories are just click machines. So, I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be here come November.
Yeah, Josh, I think what people aren't reading into is Parramatta want Papali'i to stay with Parramatta. We want him to honour his contract with us. He's not going to say anything while Parra is still in the comp. If he says, look, I'm committed to joining the Tigers next year, and Parramatta have privately said to him, we want you to stay next year, that's going to cause some disharmony with him in the club that he's playing for right now. So I think I'd like to ask him that, like, if Parramatta lose this week, hypothetically, which I got a feeling they might just get over the Cowboys, but if they lose this week, then ask him the question. But like Shane said, everything, like, they're only reporting the part about where he's not committing, but at the end of it, he goes, I'm keen to be playing under Benji in that. So I just think let's just see how it pans out. But look, the Players Association want him to honour the contract. You know, the West Tigers have got a history of letting players get out of their contract, which is a worry. They need to be firm on this regardless. So I don't think there's anything to worry about right now. I mean, it'd be interesting if Parramatta win the premiership, if he wants to leave or not. But, let's just to see how the next couple of weeks pan
out. Matt W., another Munster question. Sorry, Matt, we're kind of doubling up a little bit. It's Matt from Perth here. What are your thoughts on Munster? I personally don't think he will make our team better. I personally want Brooks shift off to wherever, and Jacko and AD. We can have Jacko and AD and more. We have that much money to add to the cap. So,
well, he would make our team better, Josh. I'll say that to Matt.
Yeah, I don't know how
he's the best 5'8" in the world. I think he'd make our team.
Crazy. And as Shane said, he's a dickhead, but that's fine. Are we sick of being the nice? We're always the nice guys that doesn't win games.
We need some grubs.
I just want to win.
We need some real grubby players that just will win it no matter what and just piss people off to win. And that's what Munster does. He literally will piss you off to the point where you lose all concentration, and they've won. And they will flog you after that. And they've done it to us. They've done it to us. They've pissed us off that bad that every single player on that field and sitting on that bench is fuming, and he's sitting there laughing, just running rings through us.
He's a winner too.
That's it.
Yeah, I think he's worth going for.
Who else can you think of that's that kind of player, Shane?
I don't know who you're referring to. Are
you hitting at Josh Reynolds?
If you're thinking of Josh Reynolds, you're way off the mark there.
No, I wasn't even thinking of Grub.
You were thinking of the cheese, I think.
I wouldn't want him.
The cheese?
Not anymore, nah.
Great. He's going to the Roosters anyway.
I don't know, man. Like, from what I saw this year, I just really have my doubts with him. And I think Roosters will be too.
No, I think he'll be a great buy for them.
Because he's too much like Radley. He does really dumb shit. And now they've got two players who do really dumb shit almost every game. It's a worry for him. Like, it's going to be hard for him. And that's all I was thinking of. Like, he does some cool stuff. Like, he does some really good stuff, but then he also just shits the bed and just has brain farts and just does the dumbest shit you could possibly do. So, and they're cracking down on Roosters. They literally, anytime anyone does something stupid for the Roosters, they're getting done. Like Jared Warrior-Hargraves, he's just literally got a microscope on him 24/7. Radley, microscope on him 24/7. So they're just getting another one of those guys. They've already got two of them. They're adding a third one. So we'll see how it goes next year. I didn't think they'd get the 8 this year. They had a good 5 weeks. Other than that, they were shit. So
A bit of a fun one from Chris Y. Who is the greatest ever forward, excluding who is the Tigers' greatest ever forward, excluding? I'm assuming you mean West Tigers only. Yeah, not just the previous Tigers. I think we're all going to have the same answer on
I think
this
so too.
one. We all thinking Gareth Ellis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without doubt.
He
So-
was the greatest, but I liked Simon Dwyer better. Just because of the hits.
Yeah,
Just because of the hits he put on. He's my favourite forward, to be honest.
that goes into the next question as well. From Jay, we'll get to that one. But after Gareth, who's second after Gareth? For you guys,
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm gonna need to think about that one for 30 seconds before I put my foot in my mouth.
My sample size probably isn't as great as the rest of you, so I'd probably have to say Keith Galloway would be number 2 for me.
yeah. I mean, he's the only one that's played only played New South Wales. Woodsy. Completely forgot about Woodsy. I mean,
he's
could
pretty
you make
forgettable.
the argument for prime
I
Woodsy?
was about to say, yeah, pretty forgettable.
No, I don't think Woods was ever that great. He was definitely good at what he did, but I think we had better forwards than him.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Keith Galloway is definitely up there.
Yeah, Keith's a pretty good choice for second, but I mean, if you go through our history, what you got, your Bryce Gibbses, your Chris Heiningtons, your
Liam Fulton,
Scando,
Mark O'Neill's, those sort of guys. But I mean, they weren't around for that long, so
yeah,
I think Source is pretty good. I mean, probably in 2010, I think Keith Galloway was the best prop in the game. So it was only when Sheens in 2012 started pulling big minutes out of him that he kind of lost that impact. So yeah, look, Keith Galloway's a good choice, Aaron. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, early, like pre-2005, what Jared McCracken was well past his prime. We had Scando, Shane Walker, friend of the show. What other forwards did we have back then? We had Sattler on his last legs.
Yeah, not many.
In terms of players, we've had a lot of great players.
LaFranchi was pretty good, but he wasn't there for long.
Oh, yeah, he played Origin too. LaFranchi played for New South Wales, but after he left, he went on to play for New South Wales. So, yeah, LaFranchi
Dwyer could have been anything.
Dwyer would have played for Australia. He's just, yeah, that kind of ties in nicely to the next question because Jay, he asks, what player's injury would you go back in time to stop from ever happening? Example, Chris Lawrence's hip, Tedesco's ACL, Simon Dwyer's doing his shoulder, or Taniela Tuiaki's ankle. So yeah, those. Tedesco recovered. Tedesco recovered from it. So
the last two are the killers because they stopped playing.
Yeah.
So they're two that you would definitely take back. Like, I mean, what Tuiaki, like, just both of them, like both of the last two, like what they did while they were there for a short time was just next level. Like, Tuiaki was just the most ridiculous build for a winger, but then the shit he did was just next level.
Yeah, he was amazing.
To me, it was just like, that's like what we're talking about before about Korobidi. Just this absolute unit of a dude, quick as hell, and just heavy, and would just literally smash through anything. That's why they called him the tank. So, like, to be honest, both of them two for me. Like, I can't choose between them because Simon Dwyer, like, he was probably my favorite player.
Yeah,
just the hits he was putting on,
unreal.
He was definitely, like, when he was playing, he was my favorite player by a long shot too.
Put hits
I loved
on.
watching him play footy.
Could hit a hole.
He just hammered.
Could hit a hole so
hammered
well.
everyone.
Yeah, he was such. It's every time I see him, I just think you should be playing State of Origin, right? Or probably close to. How old would he be now? 2010. He was. Yeah, he'd be still in the prime of his career. Probably still playing State of Origin, playing Test footy. He was just so fucking good. Like, just absolute tragedy what happened to poor Simon. It's great that he's still working with the club. What are your thoughts? As you probably don't quite remember back to Simon Dwyer?
No, I don't. The only one of the players who, like, of the names mentioned there that I know about the injury and everything like that was Tedesco's. I'm trying to think, based on what I understand from what I've heard from you blokes, was that injury to Chris Lawrence, that major one, was that in 2011 or was that 2012?
2012, wasn't it?
I can't.
No, he came.
remember.
It was 2011. He came back.
It wasn't 2011. He was still prime Chris Lawrence in 2011.
Yeah, it might have been 2012. Let me look that up.
It'd be later. It'd be later.
Okay. Because I was wondering if that was around that time, because I remember you guys mentioning that we were favourites going into that 2012 season, or
Yeah,
something.
we were.
And
Yeah, we've
something
It'd be about
derailed
12
the
or
season.
13. It'd be 12 or 13.
11. It was 2011. He only played 9
Really?
games. 2011. Yeah.
No way.
Wow.
No
So
way.
2000
No way. It was 2011. He was in the centres in the semi when we lost to New Zealand.
yeah, he
There's
came
no-
back.
Yeah, but he was still pretty good. He still had speed and everything. I don't think, like, it seemed to me after that injury he'd lost his speed, and then we had to kind of move him to second row.
Round 3, 2011. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
He
Okay.
was out round 3. Came back round 18.
Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
well,
sure
I think Lawrence and Dwyer for me in a photo. I mean, the tank was huge, but to find a centre that had the speed of Lawrence and the defence of Lawrence, and to know that he only retired a couple of years ago, we could have had a really long-term centre locked up for quite a long time. And then obviously Simon Dwyer never really got to fulfil his potential. We lost, basically 12 years. I mean, he'd still be old enough to play now, or young enough, I should say, to play now. So
Yeah, he'd be in his prime. still.
Remember Chris's face as well when he
Yeah,
went
that
into
was
it, like
huge
the Taylor's
as well.
head.
Yeah,
That was like what, 3 years ago?
yeah, that was
Madaleno.
pre-season with Madaleno.
Madaleno,
yeah,
that's it.
in New Zealand, I think.
He had the imprint of his head in his skull.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
2018, I think it was, the 2018 trial down there.
That's sickening.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It was, it might have been 19 actually.
I remember seeing the photo that his partner posted on Instagram of him in an elevator. He didn't look great.
Dude, his face
Apparently
was like a balloon, man.
Apparently, his daughter didn't recognise him after it happened.
Yeah. He still looks different after the surgery. Like when he came back, I was just like, dude, he does not look like Chris Lawrence.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
he looked completely different. And I was just like, fuck. Like to get hit that bad that your face is just gone.
Have we forgotten anyone with injuries? I think they're the 4 main ones, aren't they? Really?
I mean, not anywhere near the realm of the ones we're talking about, but Robbie Farah getting injured late 2019. So 2019.
Yeah, well, that cost us the finals.
Last
we make the
season.
finals.
Yeah, when he
played
broke
the
his
finals.
leg.
We make the finals, I think,
Yeah.
if he doesn't get injured in that Bulldogs game.
That killed me.
That Tedesco ACL was on his debut, wasn't it?
It's the game that's your wallpaper.
Yeah, Cronulla at Leichhardt.
Okay.
Yeah, that game. Round 1, 2012. So, yeah, we'll competition favourites. Tedesco started at fullback, ran it back, and, yeah, Sniper got him. But, I mean, he came back from his injury, so compared to the other guys, it's...
Look, he's still one of the best players in the world. So,
yeah.
like, look, you say you want to take it back, but what we really want to take back is him leaving. So, like, because he'd still be playing great for us now. So it's not the injury; it's just the circumstances around him leaving.
Benji's shoulders in 6 and 7. He did his shoulders.
Yeah, he did it 2 years in a row though, eh?
One was at Gosford,
and then he did one later in the next season or something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking it was
I remember him being out for
different
ages.
shoulders.
It's
Yeah,
almost like 2 years out.
basically wrote off two seasons. So, and we didn't get to see him, Scott Prince, for because Princey went off to the Titans. So I mean, because we just won a comp, I guess they kind of softened the blow a bit. But to lose them, we lost Benji for quite a lot back then. So apart from, I mean, Jared McCracken's career got ended with a spear tackle in 2000, I think. Was it 2000 2001? Jared McCracken.
Not sure. One of those years. It was on Stephen Kearney, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you ended up suing him for it. Yeah, I mean, lots in terms of minor ones like the Robbie thing. Was there any injuries that kind of ruined our season? Like 2014, we had a lot of injuries. We probably make the finals that year. We're good earlier in the year. Kind of
That
lost.
2019, we had heaps of stupid stuff. Like I remember that last game against the Sharks. Like Robbie had his broken leg, and then we were out there watching Corey Thompson warm up, and then he just dropped to the ground holding his fucking calf. I was like, "You for real?" So like, as soon as that happened, I was like, "We're done for. Like we are done. Like Robbie's out, or if he's in, he's injured, and we've just lost our fullback."
Not just
Like,
that,
let's
we
be
had
honest.
3 hookers that day too. Like by putting Robbie in, it was just silly.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Corey Thompson was playing pretty good like towards the end of that season. I reckon we would have beat the Sharks with him in there. We were just so unorganised that game that I almost punched on with the old Sharks trumpeter. I turned around to him. He was right behind me.
The friggin' kazoo.
Dude, I was deep into the VBs and I was with Oscar. And I just turned around to him like, "You blow another toot on that horn, I'm going to shove it up your ass sideways." And he went down, put it in his little box, and hit it away. So he just looked at me. I was raging. I was raging.
Those kazoos are an absolute friggin' nightmare.
Oh no! This is a full tilt trumpet. Like he plays
hear
a
on the
full tilt.
Was it?
Yeah. He plays notes on it. Like I was watching him do it. I'm like, you do keep doing that. I'm going to put that trumpet.
Yeah, it's
up
like
your
the
ass.
Barmy Army. Benjamin said Jacko this year, we probably don't get the spoon. 100%. If Jacko doesn't get an injury, we probably don't get the wooden spoon.
Yeah,
because
I reckon
we definitely beat the
Laurie
Knights
last year.
if Jacko doesn't get injured.
Laurie last year, that wasn't good for us either. That sort of ruined a few games for us
Yeah,
towards the end. And like
Warriors, that's right.
we were making a push. Like we would, if we won those games, which we probably would have, that would have just landed us in the 8 as well. With Laurie's leg going down. Anyway, boys, I got to go. It's not 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I've been here for an hour and a half.
You go off to sleep, Shane. We'll we've got one to go. We'll knock off this last one. But
That's all right.
appreciate
go
you.
the next one. It's all right.
Thanks,
go to the
Shane.
next one. I'll sit it out. Let's
Okay.
go.
Last one from Kai. Rob's been saying over the last few episodes that Adam Dwayhe's camp is upset that he hasn't been offered a new contract. I thought Dwayhe said he wouldn't be discussing contracts till after the World Cup. Have you heard anything in regards to that, Rob?
I haven't heard any more, but what I said a week ago is pretty spot on. I mean, he's not happy about the whole thing, but I don't know. Maybe they're just going to wait till after the World Cup. Maybe Adam wants to prove what he can do playing for Lebanon, although, like Shane said, the test matches aren't great, although I think Lebanon do have to play Australia or New Zealand or someone like that in one of those matches. So that'll be a big test. But yeah, I don't think he's happy. And why would you? The guy loves the club. He's been very passionate about playing for the Tigers. And, you got guys like Naden, AJ Kapoa and Stafford Toa getting contracts before he does. So yeah, it's not a great vote of confidence in him, is it?
Well, that's it.
Shane,
And you can't really discuss a contract that you don't have.
Yeah.
So I'd be pretty pissed off as well.
Yeah,
That's all. I thought that when I read that, I was just like, if he hasn't been offered a contract, he doesn't have a contract to talk about. So, of course, he's pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're playing with fire, like basically pissing off the guys that we've got, thinking maybe the grass is greener. But what are your thoughts, Shane Adams' defense has been pretty rubbish late this year, but my thoughts are, I mean, do we really take much from those last few games of this year?
Man, like, look, as I said, like, I haven't watched a full game. I've just watched bits and pieces. I've watched highlights. That's all I've sort of really paid attention to. But I don't think you can take anything out of those last few games. I really don't think the boys gave a fuck about it at all. Like, yeah, you're there to win, but just as soon as Madge was sacked half season, they were probably feeling how I was feeling. And it's just like, are these people that stupid to pull this now? And that's all I thought the whole time. Like when Madge got sacked, like, yeah, look, let's be honest. It's probably the right thing to do, but it probably would have been the right thing to do it at the beginning of the year. And go, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look for a coach. If we can't find a coach, then do what we've done. But the players would be feeling exactly like I am. It's just like timing. They were getting a roll on. They were starting to play pretty good footy. All of a sudden, the rug gets swept out from underneath them, and they're doing the same shit. So, like, I don't think they would have been given 100% in these last few games at all. But let's be honest, Dewey's defense has never been his strong point. But, like, is defense really any 5'8" strong point? Like, they shouldn't be doing that much defense. You want them to attack. And that's half the reason I get the shits with Brooks 90% of the time. He's in there every tackle. It's like, dude, if you want to do that, play hooker. Like, you're too tired to think.
Maybe.
It's like,
it might be his issue.
It's
too
just
fatigued,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
You see some of the tackles he pulls, and he's pulling big tackles, and it's just like, how are you going to back this up with an attacking set literally in 30 seconds when you've just made 4 tackles? Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Like, it's not Adams' duty. Like, the forwards should be going in around him as well. Like, he shouldn't be doing one-on-ones, really. He's in the middle of the field. He really shouldn't be doing one-on-one tackles.
Anything to add to that, Az, before we wrap up?
Not really, no. I think the only issue with everything happening as it is the World Cup doesn't end until mid to late November. So it's not over until other clubs can start negotiating with these players who are off contract at the end of next year, which I think is going to create quite a bit of drama.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting off season. If shit goes down with the West Tigers, we'll obviously be taking a break for a bit from next week. But if something big drops, we'll maybe not live, but we'll record stuff here and there about the big stuff. So next week is our last week of the show, the grand final week, where I thought of an idea of something we can do, something a bit of fun to end the season. So thinking about going on the live stream and basically doing a live watch of an old West Tigers game. So not too sure the details of what game we're going to choose yet, but basically what we'll do, we'll send out the link for there's 4 matches on YouTube. So NRL has heaps of old matches. I know the Robbie Farah field goal at Leichhardt, the win against Manly round 1 a few years ago. Obviously, I think the grand final is a bit too cliche. Might do something a little bit more recent than 2005. But so basically, we'll send out a link. So you put the game on YouTube on one screen on the TV or something, and then listen to us, and we'll live stream and kind of commentate as we all watch it. So we all press play at the same time and watch it all together. A very, very lockdown sort of thing to do, but I just thought, be a bit of fun to kind of reminisce and watch some West Tigers footy back in the glory days. So we'll work out the logistics and that sort of thing, maybe discuss with the guys in the Discord which game we should in fact watch. So we'll think of all the details. But if that sounds like a cool thing to do, give us some feedback. If you think we should do that as our finale for next week, because I might jinx it, but I don't think anything big West Tigers wise is going to drop anytime soon. So, boys, lastly, thoughts on who will make the grand final? Which two teams? Shane?
Panthers, probably Eels.
Az?
I agree. I think it'll be Panthers v Eels, but I'd really prefer to see both the other teams make it. So I think I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, definitely Panthers. I'd love to see Souths win it. I actually tipped them to win the comp at the start of the year, but especially after the Roosters game, I think Penrith are just going to roll through them in the forwards. I don't think Souths can go with them in the forwards. The other game, I'm just leaning Para, but I've got too much respect for Toddy Payton. I think they're so well coached. They might find a way, but I think if they both play their best, Para's best is a little bit better than the Cowboys. So I think we're going to have the battle of the West for the grand final. So out of the three teams from the West, two of them are going to be in the grand final, and one of them's got the wooden spoon, which isn't going to be great to watch.
For me, anyone but Para. Fuck the Eels. I really hope they don't win a comp. They haven't won one in my entire life. They haven't won one, and I hope they don't.
Hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I hope it stays that way for the rest of my life. Fuck the Eels.
They are my most hated team, but I still think they're gonna beat Cowboys. I really think they will.
I hope not. But
we'll put the jinx on both of them. Parramatta, Penrith from all of us. Do you think the same, Josh?
I think Penrith will win.
What about the other game?
Fresh legs. A lot of people are saying the humidity might get to Para a little bit with a bit of fatigue and that sort of thing. I think the Cowboys being well rested and playing at home, I think might get them across the line. But I don't know if that's just my absolute hatred.
Wishful thinking
for the Parramatta. Yeah, for that
you've
franchise.
gone differently. So one of us is different to the other three.
Yeah, but righto, boys. Shane, thank you for staying up late. Big day of work ahead of you tomorrow, boys. Thanks again, and everyone in the comments. They see that the Queen is still, as we're signing off, she's still getting around in the cart, and
still
we
dead?
appreciate. She's still riding the cart around London town. We appreciate everyone. Appreciate it.
That's pretty disrespectful, but sorry.
Yeah, on that note.
I don't want to see that coffin burst open. I'm back.
Surprise, mofos.
King Charles would shit himself. His fingers would fall off.
Righto, time for Big Dog to go to bed. All of us to go to bed.
I'm cooked. I'll see you later.
As always, boys, even in the off season, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Long live the West Tigers.
For listening to another episode of the West Life podcast. As always, we are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues Club and as well as MG Pump Solutions. If you could please subscribe if you'd love to hear us again. We're going to have episodes twice a week, every week this season, Mondays and Thursdays. So we're going to, as the season rolls in, be sure to catch us every week. And if you can, give us a like on the socials. So at westslifepod on Instagram and Twitter. Search for Westlife Podcast on Facebook. And if you'd like to take part in the show, patreon.com/Westlife. It's just a couple of bucks a month to help grow the show. We'll see you again next time on the West Life Podcast.